Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Clear Skin Essentials, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael. So over the weekend was my 40th birthday, and big 4-0. And first I just want to say thank you so much for all your birthday wishes. I really appreciate it, and I loved hearing from everyone. It was awesome. And I thought today I'd share some of the things that I do to keep my skin young and youthful, and try and keep the lines and the wrinkles and the aging at bay. We can't avoid that, nor do we completely want to, but we do not want to get too wrinkled too quickly, right? And so there's quite a few things that I do to help preserve my skin, because I'm I would say a little bit on the obsessed side with having healthy skin. Not only with acne, getting rid of acne and preventing it from coming back, but also to preserve the youthfulness of your skin. I'm full on into seeing how taking care of yourself, taking care of your diet, your lifestyle, and working at improving everything you're doing not only helps to support your health, but it also supports your skin, your appearance, your mental well-being, all of that. It's all good. And so I thought today I'd share what are some of the things that I do that I've noticed has really helped to improve my skin and keep it young. And before I get into that though, I just want to mention that I wrote an article that goes with this video, and the article might actually talk about some of the things that I don't discuss in the video, or vice versa, or I might go more in depth. So if you like the video, definitely go to my website, theclearSkinEssentials.com/blog, and click on today's blog post, and you can read the article that accompanies this video. So let's get started. What are some of the things that I do that have helped keep my skin youthful? Number one, I barely drink alcohol. Okay, and this is a huge one. I would say this is probably number one, is that I can go years without having a sip of alcohol. I used to drink, back when I was a teenager or my early 20s, but I would say by my mid-20s, I definitely slowed down and eventually stopped drinking, and mainly because I couldn't deal with hangovers. I would get suicidally depressed from hangovers, and even still to this day, if I drink and I have a bad hangover, I feel awful. So I pretty much don't drink. I just don't want to drink. And I noticed too that when I would drink in the past was that it was always connected to really bad breakouts with my skin. And my skin looked terrible, my appearance looked terrible, and I just noticed my skin would be dry, it'd be just puffy and aging and just awful. So I've definitely attribute having young, healthy skin to barely drinking alcohol. I go a few years without alcohol easily, and if I do drink, it's probably once or twice, 3 times, 4 times a year max. And if I do drink, I don't drink wine or spirits. I used to, but I stopped because I can't deal with hangovers. And even if I have a half or a quarter of a cup of wine, I feel terrible the next day, and it adversely affects my skin. So if I do drink at all, it's probably a beer, and that's it. So that's number one. I avoid alcohol. And if you want to preserve the youthfulness of your skin, cut down on the alcohol or cut it out completely. Do an experiment to see too. If you drink a lot, try and go a month or 2 without it, and see how it affects your health. Not only what's going on the outside, your appearance, but just how you feel physically, your energy and your mental well-being as well. All of that. It really, it's nice to be free of alcohol. I can definitely say that. So that's number one. Number two, I would say would be, I have very oily skin. I've always had oily skin, and it's interesting to me that since I started this channel and this website, I get a lot of emails from people asking me what to do about oily skin. And every time I receive an email like this, I'm like, oh, I know. This is one thing I've always felt kind of self-conscious about, and something I've always tried to reduce the oily skin, and I've never been able to. I've noticed that if I have less fats in my diet, I usually have less oily skin. But I've also seen that the fats that give me oily skin also help to reduce or prevent wrinkles. And I can now that I'm 40, I can look back and say having oily skin has really protected my skin from aging, from wrinkles and lines, definitely 100%. And I want to share that with you, that if you're kind of struggling with oily skin, is that there is one huge benefit of having oily skin. And that is that it does protect your skin from lines and wrinkles. And I would say having oily skin is better than any kind of like anti-aging product you can buy. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I can now that I'm 40, I actually embrace having oily skin. And that's definitely something that has helped me. Another thing too with skin and skin care is I also find that in general how I approach my skin care is to be as gentle as possible. I'm not into like stripping my skin or like cleaning it so like abrasively or so much that it leaves it like tight or dry, none of that. It's kind of like the more gentle I can be and the less I put on my skin, the better. So when it comes down to things like makeup, I rarely use makeup. Okay, you've seen the videos, I don't wear any makeup. Pretty much most of the time I don't wear makeup. And if I do, it's on occasion. It's kind of like alcohol. I wear it once in a while when I'm like going out to a party or celebration or like a special occasion. And I like makeup. It's just that I find that makeup, it irritates my skin, it makes my skin break out. And I find when I'm wearing it, I have to really clean my skin to get it off, and that irritates my skin, it dries it out, and I'm like over cleansing my skin, and I don't find it's worth it. I also find that too, over time, if I'm wearing a lot of makeup, is that can, in turn, it can definitely affect my skin and make it age as well. So in general, I try not to put so much on my skin. I like my skin to breathe, and I find that too helps to just preserve it, because kind of like the less stuff you're putting on your skin, the less you're touching your skin, the less you're fussing with it, the less you're just doing things with it. And I find it's kind of like when we just let something be, it can take care of itself, it can protect itself, it can be healthy. And so when it comes down to skin and what I'm using on it, the less the better. Same thing with skincare products. I prefer to be using mostly like non-toxic skincare products that are natural or organic. I don't necessarily know how much natural and organic really is natural and organic, but I can just say products that don't contain ingredients that adversely affect my skin, that don't contain ingredients that suffocate my skin or that are not safe. I find in general there's a few ingredients that I just don't do well with my skin, and the two ones are silicones and mineral oils. Those for me, like just, it's breakout city, it's irritation, and I do feel that can contribute to aging my skin. So in general, I like to stick with more of like the natural stuff and sort of like more simple products and things that my skin can really breathe and is gentle. And the less the better. That's pretty much what I do. Same thing too with sunscreen and protecting my skin from the sun. I do believe the sun will damage your skin and it will age your skin. Definitely if you're like sunbathing and stuff, I would be careful. So for myself, when it comes down to protecting my skin from the sun, is I don't shun the sun, okay? So I'm not hiding from the sun all day and like never going out. But at the same time, I'm not going out like between, I would say 10 and 3. I kind of avoid that. And if I do have to, then I will wear sun protection. One sunscreen that I really like is Annmarie Skin's Sun Love. That's a really good one, and that's something I would recommend. And it doesn't give breakouts or like suffocate your skin. But in general, if I don't have to wear sunscreen and I'm not like putting my skin at risk by being outside, I'm going to avoid it. I'd rather just be in the shade. I'd rather go out early morning or late afternoon where I'm not risking getting sunburn and I don't have to like put stuff on my skin. That's kind of like how I like to do things. And I find that works the best. I can also say too is that my advantage is I am from Montreal, Canada. I grew up like in the Great North and it's cold there. The sun isn't strong. So I've been lucky that a big portion of my life I haven't damaged my skin from the sun. But I currently live in Bali, Indonesia. We're close to the equator. It's really hot here. It's hot all year round. The sun is so strong. So I have to be very careful. I can also mention too that about 10 years ago I lived in Australia for 2 years, and back then I loved like tanning and stuff, and I really damaged my skin like hardcore. I aged significantly in 2 years. And I remember like family and friends kind of like shocked when I came back, because I really did a number on my skin. But I can honestly say from improving my diet, my lifestyle, avoiding the sun after that experience, was I was able to reverse a lot of that damage, and luckily it just didn't get worse. So if any of you were like big tanners at any point, my advice is like stop now while you can and start taking care of your skin. Take care of your skin with your skincare, with your diet, eat healthy, all of that, and avoid alcohol, things like that, and you can reverse that damage, definitely. So what else do I do? Okay, let's see. Diet. Diet is a huge one. Diet is like huge. I would say that is just as important as staying away from alcohol for me, with keeping my skin clear and youthful, is eating a healthy diet. Staying away from all processed food, staying away from like junk food, fast food, refined food, all of that. I find in general, I've experimented with a lot of diets over the years, and different types of whole food diets. So like all diets that were like super healthy, but different types of diets in sort of like the healthy sphere. And 2 diets that were really good for my skin was, the first one was doing a raw vegan diet. I did a raw food diet for about 3 to 4 years, and it was great for clearing up my acne. I completely got rid of it. My skin was clear. It was great. But when it came down to like preserving like the youthfulness of my skin, I actually didn't find that to be the best diet for it. It was afterwards when I got onto eating a whole food diet that was low carbohydrate. So it doesn't mean that I cut out carbohydrates completely. I still eat like fruits and rice and like some grains and stuff. But the bulk of my diet is mostly like vegetables. I eat meat or fish, eggs, things like that. I find in general, when I focus on eating healthy fats and healthy proteins and mindful with my portions of carbohydrates, my skin is a lot more supple, it's less lined, it's soft, it's not never dry, it's like really good. It really keeps it young and glowing and vibrant. And so, but again, it's not about completely cutting out carbohydrates, but it's really about not being on a high carb diet, but keeping it low and focusing on having healthy fats and healthy proteins. I also believe too that you don't have to be like a meat eater to be on a good quality, higher protein and higher fat diet. You can also be a vegetarian or vegan doing that. You just need to know what to eat. But I do find that having healthy proteins and healthy fats in your diet, like especially like having eggs and fish and nuts and seeds and avocado, coconut meat, durian fruit, those things are great for your skin. So great. And it really makes a big difference. So that's definitely something that has worked for me over the years and something I stick with. I really like. And then I would also say too is water, bathing water. So since I moved to Bali, we rent a house here and we have well water, and the water is not treated. It's not drinkable. It's completely contaminated with bacteria. But bathing in it, my skin never gets dried. So I mentioned I'm from Montreal, Canada. I'm from a city, and I grew up with municipal treated water, chlorinated water. It always smelled like chlorine, and that always dried out my skin. And then when I moved here, skin doesn't dry out like that. Just from not having chlorine in my water, and also from taking cooler showers and baths. I try really to get into using cold water instead of hot, and that makes a big difference. So any of you that are kind of like, maybe that's something you can try, all you need to do is get like a really cheap water filter for your shower head, and that will filter out the chlorine, and do an experiment for 1 month to see the difference, and try and go with cooler water than hot and see how that goes, because I know a lot of people can agree with me that once they got away from bathing in chlorinated water, they felt like so much better. So much better. Their skin, just everything. It's like you no longer needed like creams and stuff for your dry skin, nothing. It's like that big of a difference. And you won't smell like chlorine, which is even better. And then lastly, sleep. Sleep is a huge one, and sleep is something that I'm still challenged by. Okay, so you guys know I had a child. I have a little daughter. She's 2 years and 3 months. And from having a baby, like overnight, I stopped getting regular, good quality sleep. And I noticed like from like the first week she was born, like just what a bad effect it has on my skin and keeping young and radiant is when I'm not getting sleep. And unfortunately that's like out of my control, is that I have to take care back then of a newborn baby and then a toddler, and you know, now my daughter does, you know, wake up here and there throughout the night and all of that. So I don't get the best quality sleep, and to me sleep is gold, especially when it was taken away from me after giving birth. And so I would say to all of you is that I noticed that like my appearance, everything really changed from not getting that quality sleep. And it's something that hopefully, I think as every month passes, the amount of sleep I get is more and it's better, but it's still not great as it used to be. And so I would say to all of you that if you really want to like preserve your youthfulness and have healthy skin and keep it young and supple and fresh, is really make sure you're getting good quality, enough sleep, and just long sleep, you know, that you're not waking up throughout the night, nothing, you know, really do what you can to really enhance having good quality beauty sleep, because it is beauty sleep, trust me. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with, and definitely go to my website, theclearskinassentials.com/blog, and you can see on today's blog post is a full article that goes a little bit deeper in some of these details, and yeah, so you can go and read that as well. And I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things you do to keep your skin young? I would really love to hear that. So if you want to post down below in the comments section on today's blog post, I would love to hear from you. All right, have a super fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.